Grace and rest to you this day from our triune God. Amen. Way back in the old days, in the 70s and 80s, I worked at the Mill Race Inn, a lovely restaurant in Geneva, Illinois. Some of you may know it, yes? Every Sunday morning, I attended church, and then I taught Sunday school, and then I went directly off to work at the restaurant. One Sunday morning, Pastor Art Homer gave a wonderful sermon on keeping the Sabbath. To not work, to rest, to find time with God. That afternoon, after the Sabbath Keeping sermon, I found him sitting at my table at the Mill Race Inn. I asked, if you want me to keep the Sabbath day, then why are you here expecting me to work or expecting someone else to work, right? Pretty ironic. We had a great discussion, as we always did. This morning we have heard texts that invite us to consider Sabbath and what it might mean to keep the Sabbath. The people of Jesus' day took seriously God's call to rest on the Sabbath and keep it holy. In Judaism, the Sabbath is the last day of the week, the seventh day, beginning at sundown Friday night to sundown Saturday. It follows the creation story, right? That tells us that God rested on the seventh day. Well, since the time of Constantine, the first day of the week, Sunday, became the Christian Sabbath. Constantine codified this practice in 321 AD with a decree that Sunday would be a day of rest across his entire empire. Every Sunday we gather here to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, right? Every Sunday is like a mini Easter. That's why those Sundays in Lent don't count as the 40 days. So here you are, you're here, and it's Sunday, and we've come together to pause from life's responsibilities in order to worship, to rest, and to recenter ourselves on God. I probably don't need to tell you that the days of celebrating 24 hours of Sabbath are not practiced by many of us anymore. For me, I've always worked on a Sunday, whether as a waitress or as a youth director or as a pastor. And so I realize we all struggle with Sabbath keeping in today's world. So what has happened to Sabbath keeping, and why is it so hard? Since I've always worked on Sundays, Mondays for me became my Sabbath day. So for me, it's not a matter of which day, rather the importance of taking regular time every week to make time for God. For a time of rest, restorative rest, and reconnection with God and family and friends and faith. Having said that, I admit more often than not on Mondays, I find myself doing errands, right, and checking off the to-do list of things I've neglected all week. So it's still a struggle for me to create space, to actually do nothing. There's a sign that's prominently displayed in my kitchen. It reads, "Don't just do something, sit there." This is the message of the morning. To practice sitting, doing nothing. That's the challenge. This was a gift from a friend knowing I needed it because it's really, really hard to do nothing. But may I suggest that you take 10 minutes and literally do nothing. That doesn't mean watching golf or whatever the other suggestions were after first service. It means doing nothing. And I'm not asking you to meditate and do all that stuff. Just do nothing. One of the reasons I believe Sabbath keeping is so hard is because we live in a society that equates busyness, right, with value. As a culture, we're surrounded by busyness. Oh, sorry, I can't do that. I'm too busy. I'm exhausted. Running around, right? We're stressed out. That's become kind of a way of looking good to others. Well, after work today, I have to take Allison to soccer practice and then bake brownies for the bake sale and then pick up Johnny from play rehearsal. I'm important. I'm busy. I'm busy. You see, our busyness sometimes makes us feel worthy. And we wear busyness like a badge of honor. And we derive self-worth from a checked-off to-do list. Busyness has been glorified in our culture. Busyness has the power to say, I'm productive, and I'm accomplished, and I'm of value. Look what I'm doing. Look what I've done. Even on our vacations, we don't stop and take Sabbath. Right? We're still connected to our phones and our emails. Not doing seems close to impossible. So I ask you today, is there a way to come to believe that you are more valuable than your schedule? John Acuff, a millennial author and speaker, once said, "It will be a great day when you accomplish nothing and still believe you are worth something." This bears repeating. It will be a great day when you accomplish nothing and still believe you are worth something. Imagine if someone asked you, "How are you doing?" And you would respond, "I'm doing great. I sat around all day yesterday." Now imagine what their response would be. Taking Sabbath time can help us not base our worth on our many accomplishments, but instead to trust and rely on God. You know what? This world still goes around, even if you take time off. I suggest a small prayer. Dear God, help us to rest in you, not in our accomplishments. Amen. But my sermon's not over. Maybe it's halfway point, I don't know. Okay, so you're not going to take 24 hours off, I get that. So I'm going to suggest some elements for Sabbath living. First, remembering every day is sacred. Every moment of every day belongs to God. Maybe you're saying, okay, I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, then how about taking some Sabbath moments? When I wake up in the morning and I don't have to be somewhere, I use this time that I call my sweet time, just to be able to lay in bed and think about whatever comes into my mind or not. And it could be about work or friends or nothing or the world. And it often leads to prayer about this or that or the other thing. However, I've noticed lately, since I began using my cell phone as my morning alarm, I've taken to picking up my cell phone while still in bed and looking at the news or opening my emails. Okay, so you're beginning to see that you're getting this sermon today because Sabbath keeping is difficult for me. So I am making a commitment today to you, and you can hold me accountable and ask, that I will not pick up and get busy on my cell phone while still in bed first thing in the morning. I have also begun to see an element of Sabbath keeping that we can do whenever is this element of being present, not distracted. Long ago, I read a book by Brother Lawrence, The Practice of the Presence of God. It's this tiny little book, but a powerful impact. Brother Lawrence became a monk at the age of 24. And whether he was washing dishes or he was in a conversation, he cultivated a deep sensitivity to the presence of God in ordinary things of life. And he suggests, and I quote, "Busy yourself with keeping your mind in the presence of the Lord." So practicing Sabbath for me is first being present to God. being present to and for others, being present to myself, and taking time to do what is life-giving. That's what Jesus reminds these religious leaders who only wanted to live by the letter of the law. He's like, what is the law for? Is it for helping people or leaving them helpless? Is it being present to the needs of others or not? And then he says, Sabbath was made for us, not us for the Sabbath. Keeping the Sabbath is a gift for you. A gift that helps us live in relationship with God and relationship with one another, and to have us do what is life-giving. Psalm 46 tells us, be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among nations, I am exalted on the earth. The Lord is with us, and God is our refuge. God is our refuge. A refuge is a safe place, a haven, a place of shelter and protection. And knowing God is our refuge enables us to trust God more freely and more fully. When I'm overwhelmed with what feels like a myriad of things to do, or I know I need God's help in a situation, or I'm needing to fall asleep, but I'm filled with anxiety, how your brain gets going, I slowly pray these precious words of Psalm 46. Be still and know that I am God. I repeat the line, dropping off the last word each time, and I allow my mind space to wander and to fill in the blank, or to just repeat the phrase again. So for example, be still and know that I am uncomfortable, exhausted, loved, whatever your mind goes. So I am going to invite you this morning to take a little Sabbath time right now to join me in praying and doing the same thing, yes? And in the silence of each line, that's what you fill in. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I Be still and know that Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Amen, and happy Sabbath.